Hey everyone, you're welcome back to my channel. In today's recipe, I'm going to be sharing with you this special local fish pie. This was one of the fish pies that made break time during those days very memorable. It is very spicy inside and it is also very tasty. If you would like to find out how this is made, make sure you watch this video to the end. To prepare this, we'll first of all cook our fish, and I'm using one mackerel fish for this recipe. I'll add salt, seasoning powder, and I'll be pouring water just big enough to cover the fish and cook it all the way through. We'll cover the pot and allow the fish to cook. 8 minutes later, the fish is boiling. I'm just going to take this out from the fire and we are ready to debone the fish. The head is more bony, so I won't be using the head. So I'm just going to flake up the fish and remove the bone from the fish. Once that is done, we go ahead to prepare the sauce for the fish. So in my frying pan, I'll drizzle in some vegetable oil. I'll be pouring in our chopped onion and I'm going to be frying this for a few minutes. We'll pour in our pepper mix. This is where the spiciness comes from, so you just have to add as much as you can tolerate. So while you're frying this, it might be a little bit choky. Just fry a little bit and you can go ahead to add in the fish. I'll stir up the fish and just add little water from the fish stock just to reduce the sharpness that is coming from this pepper. So I'm going to give it a very good stir. I'll be adding my seasoning powder and I'll add salt and I'll add some leek. You can use spring onion if you can't find leek. I'm just going to stir this all up and I'll allow the water to dry up. At this point, the aroma coming from this was so good. I was thinking of changing plans to making it a yam sauce, but no, we have to stick to the original plan. So once the water is dried up, I'm just going to take it off fire and I'll allow this to cool. We can now prepare the dough for this fish pie. So in a bowl, I've added in 4 cups of all-purpose flour. I'll be adding in 1/4 cup of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt, 2 teaspoons of yeast, and I'll be adding in 1/2 teaspoon of grated nutmeg. I'm just going to give this a very good stir. You can find the quantities of all the whole ingredients we use in preparing the dough in the description box below, so do well to check it out. So once I'm done mixing, I'm just going to create a little hole in the center and add in my wet ingredients. I'll be adding in 1 egg, 1 tablespoon of margarine, and I'll be mixing it together. At this point, we'll be using our hands so that we can get a perfect mixed dough. Once we have perfectly mixed the dough, I'll be pouring in water to bind the dough together. And I use 1 cup of water plus 1 tablespoon of water. That's the total amount of water I use in binding the dough for this quantity of the ingredient that we use. So I'm just going to keep mixing it up together. At this point, you might be having this feeling to add more water and hasten up the process. Don't worry, the dough is just going to come together. Just keep mixing. The dough is going to come together like this. I'll just allow the dough to rest for about 5 minutes before we begin to roll the dough. So I'm just going to cut out a little from the dough, flatten it to the shape that we want to get, and I will use my rolling pin to roll it. You don't need to roll the dough very flat so that it can actually carry the weight of the fillings that we are going to add to it. Once that is done, I'll be using a round shaped plate to cut out the dough. You can actually use any shape of cutter that you want, but I'm using a round shaped plate as my cutter for this. So once that is done, I'm just going to place in the filling, that's our fish pie filling, into the dough. I'll cover the dough, press it down with the tip of my finger first, and I'll use my fork to bind the dough together, just the same way we do to our normal meat pie. But I'll go ahead to give you this opening on the top. This is totally optional. Once this is done, we'll all keep it and it is ready to be fried. In my frying pan, I'll be pouring in the groundnut oil for the frying, and we need at least 1.5 liter of oil for us to fry this. Once the oil is hot, I'm just going to gently put in our fish pie into the oil, and I'm frying this on a low heat. If you fry it on a very high heat, it's just going to get brown easily on the outside and not cook on the inside. And you don't need to overcrowd your frying pan. You just fry it batch by batch. Once one side is ready, we'll flip over to the other side and allow it to cook. Remember, we are frying this on a low heat. You can decide to bake this instead of frying it, but just know that the taste is going to be different. You're not going to have that legendary local fish pie taste. It's actually going to be tasty, but you won't have the same taste. So once this is properly fried on both sides, I'm just going to take it out from the hot oil and transfer it into our paper towel for it to drain any excess oil. We can now continue to fry others till the whole dough is exhausted, and just take a look at how lovely this fish pie is looking. To be honest, that bring back some sweet memories. So let me just open it for you guys and see how it is inside. It is quite stretchy, but not very stretchy. It is very tasty, and the dough is very spicy. Try this out, you are going to enjoy it, and I bet you will be very hooked. Thank you guys for watching this video to this point. Don't forget to share my recipe, comment below if you enjoy this. I will see you in my next recipe. Bye.